A YouTuber called Bonobo3D recently mirrored a video by a young gay man called Travis Wisdom. By the way, I seem to have had my comment that I left on the video removed by Bonobo3D. This is the comment that was removed. I wonder why he removed it. Analyzing male slavery. 5 days ago. Straight men are demonized for their sexuality as well. Homophobia is another form of misandry. Bonobo3D wants to ban me from his channel and remove my comments. That is fine, it is his channel after all, but I do not trust his motives for doing so, since he had no reason to remove my comment. The only thing that could have made him remove my comment was me talking about misandry. I did post comments on someone else's thread on the same channel about how the LGBT is a feminist co-option of the older GLBT, but those comments were not removed. Perhaps me being anti-LGBT got me banned, as I believe the LGBT community drowns out the voices of gay men, and puts feminist lesbians as the priority. I was thinking of doing a reply to Bonobo3D's video. Me finding out I was banned has motivated me to do so. I have heard he bans anyone who is a men's rights activist. Anyway, let's do a response video.
I think circumcision is a gay rights issue. Circumcision was originally proposed to deter masturbation, and
you know that straight men like to masturbate as well? I will give you a chance to make your case though. Please do carry on.
in doing so, you are removing a majority of sensation. Gay liberation, much of gay liberation, is about sexual liberation. That we have the right to to embrace our bodies and our sexuality and our sexual identity. It's not always about that, but that's part of it. Is that you can't be free if you don't have the opportunity to flourish as a healthy sexual being. And
straight men do not have that right. They do not get to flourish as sexual beings. Gay men can get more sex than straight men. Also, gay men are at a far lesser risk of getting a sexual harassment or false rape charge. While there was stigma against homosexuality in the past, that stigma is greatly reduced in the USA and nearly completely gone in many other Western countries. The stigma against male heterosexuality is growing though. Feminist rape culture hysteria has demonized male heterosexuality. You're lucky that you are gay in fact. You do not have to deal with the bull crap that straight men have to go through. Of course there are problems that straight men and gay men both face for being male. Oh, sorry for digressing, please carry on.
So, as circumcision prevents that, it's removing the majority of sensation, it is damaging to our sexuality. It's a way that really inflicts a dominant norm of sexuality and of masculinity on men.
This is pure nonsense. This sounds like intersectional feminist dribble. Travis Wisdom, are you a feminist? I am just curious. If so, you do not belong in any male human rights movement, in the same way a member of the Ku Klux Klan does not belong in any movement advocating for the rights of black people. Men are having their genitals cut and mutilated as helpless baby boys, while girls have legal protection from the same practice. Men being mutilated is not a sign of dominant masculinity, but a sign that men are submissive and second-class human beings compared to women. If someone claimed that female genital mutilation was a sign of dominant femininity, people would rightfully laugh at them. I am using that analogy to point out how ridiculous your statement is. What you are saying is very similar to feminist dribble about how male dominance and the patriarchy harms men too. There is no male dominance. The only sex that is dominant right now is the female one. Women are pussy and proactive and fight for their rights, and get extra privileges over men to boot. Men are reactive and submissive. I do not see male dominance anywhere in society. In fact, circumcision was a practice done to slaves in the past. Circumcision is a sign of male slavery. The male slave has no right to body integrity. Your talk about dominant masculinity plays into anti-male stereotypes. It obfuscates the truth about male vulnerability and powerlessness. Also, you haven't yet explained how forced circumcision is a gay rights issue. I am still waiting for you to explain. I have never seen anyone claim that forced circumcision is a straight heterosexual male issue, by the way. The fact you would claim that it is a gay rights issue seems entitled to me, and feels like hijacking. Why is Bonobo 3D mirroring this video? What is his agenda?
And as gay men, we've already been victims to this. That's just one more element to it.
No, as gay men, you have been victims of misandry, not dominant masculinity. Gay male sexuality is sexuality seen outside of female control and approval. Countries with rigid slave gender roles for men tend to be more homophobic than countries with less restrictive gender roles. The perfect example of this is Islamic countries in the Middle East. The Islamic religion has highly restrictive and toxic roles for men, and is a homophobic religion to boot. Gay men risk getting executed. Also, straight men in Islamic countries are restricted as well, and risk getting the death penalty for adultery. The problem is not a dominant masculinity, but a masculinity that is forced to conform to norms that are for the benefit of women. All over the world, culture tries to shape masculinity into a tool that serves for women. This is why men must utterly reject all protector and provider gender roles. Also, feminist nonsense talk about hegemonic masculinity, or dominant masculinity must be utterly rejected. Male heterosexuality seen outside of female control is stigmatized and demonized as well. For example, men are not allowed to pay for sex. Men are not allowed to pay money to have consensual sex with a woman. Yet women want men to pay for sex via dating and having their time wasted. Women want to get paid for sex via dating, but they also want the option of plausible deniability, and be able to rinse men. Lead them on with the promise of sex, get the many to spend money on there, and then deny them sex. Women want men to waste their time dating and end up sexually frustrated, so women have even more control over men. Men who pay for sex cut through that bullshit and help reduce female social dominance. A lot of female power is based around sex. Reducing that power is seen as a threat to women. Islamic countries are full of low-status men, who are horny and desperately want sex, many willing to marry the first woman who take them. Homophobia is just another form of misandry. I believe the root cause of it is the same root cause of heterophobia, a fear of male sexuality outside of female control. Again, I think Travis is an intersectional feminist. Oh, do carry on, Travis, I am interrupting far too much.
It's actually rather difficult to talk to gay men about this issue, and I think the reason why, or one of the reasons why, is because we have been dehumanized for our sexuality, and many of us have learned to cope with that. Some of us have been survivors of that, and I think we don't want to realize that there's another element, another layer of oppression to our experience. And it's very difficult for a man to realize, to consciously realize that his body was violated, that someone strapped him down and amputated in a most barbaric fashion the most important, most sensitive part, the most erogenous part of his penis. That's very difficult to articulate. And in our culture, men are not, there's no space for men to be victims. Men are not supposed to be victims. Our society allows men or women to be victims, and I think in many ways it almost assumes that women should be victims of certain acts or so forth. But men are not allowed to be victimized, and so...
You realize gay men have more space to be seen as victims than straight men? You must realize this obvious truth, right?
There's so much going on that we, as a gay man, we're already challenging, we're transgressing from norms of gender and norms of sexuality. When you challenge and question circumcision, you're doing that as well. When I was discussing circumcision in a Facebook group, primarily for gay men, I talked about circumcision. I said that very briefly, but pretty succinctly, that there are benefits, there are a lot of damages. Talked about genital autonomy, trying to be as positive as possible, and a man responded. I assume he's somewhere in his 20s, and he was very, very offended by what I had said. He said that I was claiming that his parents are evil, sadistic, religious zealots, and that his body, his circumcised penis, is mutilated and it's defective, and how dare you? I'm insulted. And from that point, everything that I said was very gentle as possible, and trying to let him know that his anger, his experience, and his feelings mattered, and I validated them. And if you don't do that, people are just going to shut down and think that you have the knowledge and you're just kind of dumping it on them. So when I talk to young people about this issue, I let them tell their story first and tell me what is important to them, what matters to them, and like I said before, individualize the consciousness raising.
I'm sorry, but anyone who thinks circumcision is a gay male issue needs shocking out of their stupidity. Since Travis never made a case for circumcision being a gay rights issue in the video, I can reject that claim out of hand. Circumcision is a male issue, and a male issue only. It affects all types of men, and it affects gay and straight men equally. Simply because no one knows the sexuality of baby boys when they are born. To claim that the mutilation of baby boys is a gay male issue is the height of stupidity. Gay men are not extra human or more special than straight men, they are not affected more by having their dicks mutilated any more than straight men. Babies who grow up to be straight or gay feel the same level of agony when their dicks are mutilated. The sexuality of the victim of genital mutilation is completely irrelevant. Men and boys are dehumanized for their maleness. Males are seen as so subhuman that cutting and mutilating the dicks of boys without anesthetic is completely normalized. Gay men need to wake up just as much as straight men. Most gay men seem to be in denial about misandry. Now Bando 3D, why did you mirror Travis Wisdom's video? Why did you ban me for talking about misandry on your channel? There is something about you I do not trust, looking at your comments, and the rationalizations you make. Are you trying to pander to the gay movement or something? I am only willing to work with gay males completely on my own terms. Gay men have to accept the existence of misandry, and reject nonsense talk about dominant or hegemonic masculinity, and must utterly reject the feminist term LGBT. Gay men who are in denial about misandry and only care about the issues of gay men are just as useless as straight men who are in denial about misandry and only care about party politics. Either men get it or they do not. Working or interacting with men who do not get it is a waste of my time.